Do you think racism is an issue in America?
Yes, of course.
Racism is an issue. It definitely is. I think it's very, very, very heavily tied with economic disparity. Poor people in general are treated pretty badly. Black, white, yellow, orange, purple. If you're poor, you're just kind of treated like a subhuman in this country. But I definitely think we have a long way to go with African American and Hispanic, especially males, Black and Hispanic males. Definitely seeing the brunt of police brutality. Definitely seeing the brunt of negative economic circumstances surrounding their neighborhoods, and yeah.
I believe so. It is. It's always been an issue, and it always will. I don't think that people are just gonna not be racist from one day to the next. And even though sometimes people don't mean to be racist, they are. Whether they're just joking around with their friends or they actually mean it. You know, sometimes you just say something you don't think sounds racist or you don't mean it to be racist, but other people interpret it as racist.
Can you describe an experience where you were treated positively or negatively because of your race or nationality?
I used to live in a very conservative town, and this is like post 9/11, so I was physically harassed, very violently. It wasn't just like playful. I'm not even Muslim, but I'm brown and I'm not Hispanic, so that was grounds to kind of kick my ass.
Definitely. My first few days of school in this country, when I came from Mexico, I was 8 years old. I was bullied because I couldn't speak English. I didn't understand what was going on in class. The first day of class, we had a spelling test, and the teacher gave it to me even though I didn't speak English at all. I was really nervous, and my classmates were making fun of me. They once tied me up into a fence because I thought they were my friends, but they were not.
I guess whenever I'm in a restaurant or I'm walking the street and the person was like either serving me food or is just handing out things, if they are Hispanic, they will treat me nicer than a person who is from another race. I noticed that they smile at you more. If you're Latina, if you're on a bus, they will strike a conversation with you if they identify as the same race as you. That's what I've noticed positively. And at my job, I've noticed that when I was working, that my boss, she was Asian, and she did not treat me as nicely as she did the white kids that worked at the same job. So that's how I noticed that I got treated differently than they did.
Have you ever felt like you needed to act a certain way because of your race or nationality?
Honestly, no. I feel like the other Latinas sometimes do act a certain way because they're seen a certain way, but I try not to.
It's funny that you say that because a lot of my relatives don't like me because I act too Gora. Gora means white. I'm too. It's actually a very derogatory term. It's more akin to a cracker, but I act like one. They say.
I act a certain way with my friends who are mostly Latinas, but once I joined Color Guard, my first year, I had to act a little bit what they call whitewashed. I had to be like, oh my God, and because everybody would be acting like that, and I wouldn't, but then I would feel left out, so I would have to start acting like that and using more oh my God, and that kind of stuff.
Do you think that it's possible for people to not be racist?
Is it possible? Definitely. I don't see why not. I think it's very hard if you're raised with something your entire life, believing anything. That's just with everything. If you're raised with something, it's ingrained, and we kind of human beings try to reaffirm their beliefs. It's just a confirmation bias. It's just the way our brains function. But I definitely think it's possible to overcome it if you are exposed to why it is a bad thing. But if you're just surrounded by your KKK and neo-Nazi uncles your entire life, and you're just in that environment, there's nothing to foster change.
If possible for people not to be racist?
Do you think that's possible?
I don't think so. I think, even like I said, even though people don't mean to be racist sometimes, they are, even though they don't realize it, or they might realize it after.
I don't think it's possible for them not to be racist unless we're taught that way. But we are taught that being racist is somewhat okay. I've noticed that when my parents, they're not really racist people, what you would consider racist people. But if you're driving and somebody drives bad, they're gonna say, "Oh, that's a Chinese person," or "Oh, that's person gonna be Asian." So, and we just laugh about it because we were just like, what we know is that sometimes the drivers are Asian, but that doesn't happen all the time. But it's something that we're taught from when we're little that it's okay to say. But we don't mean anything really bad about it. We're sort of just making a joke. But when you really take it in consideration, that we're saying that bad drivers are all Asian, you are being racist against Asian people.
Do you consider yourself to be racist? Why or why not?
Do I consider myself to be racist? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, sometimes I call my brother, "Hey, you beaner," even though if somebody that's not from my race would call me that, I would get really pissed off and call that person racist. But sometimes I do call my own people racist. What is it, slurs it's called, or what is it? Yeah. So I am racist, even though sometimes with my own people I feel comfortable talking that way. If somebody else would say it to me, I wouldn't. And if I would say it to someone that I'm not close to, they would consider me racist.
I don't. I don't consider myself racist.
Okay. And this last one is a bonus question.
Have you had someone who's like stared into your eyes and said, "I am racist, Stacey. I just came here. I took my white robe off and I just came here."
Well, the majority of people actually did say that they do consider themselves to be racist.
Really?
I consider myself to be racist.
That's weird. Okay.
Okay.
That is really hard to say. I would say that I am not racist, but that when I'm not thinking about something, I will say something that sounds racist. Like the bad driver being Chinese, I would say, "Well, the person doesn't know how to drive, gotta be Asian, you know?" Or say something like that. I will say it, but I don't really mean it. It's just something that you will say because you've heard about it when you're little from your parents, and it's something that society accepts as well.
What race and or nationality do you identify with?
Race is Homo sapiens sapiens, to be completely correct. Ethnicity-wise, Indo-Aryan, that region.
I am Brazilian and Latina.
Mexicana, I guess. And Latina. Hispana.